Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here today to talk about the North Texas Coerced Legal Representation Pilot Program. We're going to go over an introduction to the pilot program and also learn more about what coerced debt is. My name is Brianna Gordley, and I'm a senior policy analyst at Texas Appleseed, working to advocate for consumer protection issues. And one of those issues is financial abuse and coerced debt. Prior to working at Texas Appleseed, I worked directly with survivors of domestic violence in shelter settings and also as a rapid rehousing case manager. And so what is the Coerced Debt Pilot Program, and why are you all here today? The program consists of identifying, referring, and connecting survivors with coerced debts to pro bono or free legal services in order to receive a Chapter 521 order. And what a Chapter 521 order does is it's a court order, and it would declare a survivor as a victim of identity theft. And so in order to receive a Chapter 521 order, an uncontested lawsuit must be filed. And uncontested means that there is no other person being sued on the other side of what you would consider a traditional lawsuit. So this is mainly about getting relief for the survivor. And getting a Chapter 521 order can really help survivors clean up their credit by making it much easier for them to remove coerced debts from their credit reports as well as other benefits. And so domestic violence program advocates, you play a very crucial role in ensuring that survivors are properly screened for coerced debts, are being assisted with pulling their credit reports and disputing coerced debts, and are referred to the Texas Advocacy Project to get connected to pro bono legal counsel. And so who is participating in the pilot program? We first have three statewide organizations: the Texas Advocacy Project, the Texas Council on Family Violence, and Texas Appleseed. We have 5 local domestic violence programs: Genesis Women's Shelter and Support, Mosaic Family Services, Safe Haven, Texas Muslim Women's Foundation, and the Salvation Army. And we're working with 3 legal experts as well: a lawyer from the National Consumer Law Center, a lawyer from Lone Star Legal Aid, and Paula Pierce, an expert in the Chapter 521 order process. And so what does the pilot program process look like? It first starts with you all screening clients for coerced debts, pulling their credit reports, and then referring clients to the Texas Advocacy Project, or TAP. TAP will then receive referrals from you all and connect clients with pro bono attorneys. And then finally, those pro bono attorneys will work with clients and engage in the Chapter 521 process in order to help clients become declared victims of identity theft. And so what is my program's role in the pilot program? Mainly to identify survivors that are both eligible and interested in participating in the pilot program, and to make referrals to the Texas Advocacy Project. And again, this includes screening for coerced debts and helping clients pull their credit reports. A few additional roles that you programs have: one, providing feedback on the different materials used for the pilot program, mainly the intake and screening tool, which has already been done; attending an in-person advocate training, which has also already been done at the end of April; and then finally participating in monthly check-ins through fall of 2025 so that we can help problem solve any issues that you all have been having for the pilot program. And so now an introduction to coerced debt. What is coerced debt, and how does it impact the financial well-being of survivors? A stat from the Center for Survivor Agency and Justice found that 96% of survivors located in Texas and Louisiana sought help due to economic abuse perpetrated in an intimate relationship. As advocates ourselves, we know that financial abuse runs rampant in domestic violence situations and is one of the leading reasons that survivors ultimately stay in an abusive relationship. So how does this connect with coerced debt? So first, coerced debt is any non-consensual credit-related transaction that occurs within an abusive intimate relationship. And so, for example, what this can look like is an abusive partner taking out credit, whether that be a credit card or even a car loan, in the name of their victim through force, threat, fraud, or coercion. And so we see this intersection of domestic violence and identity theft, where coerced debt falls right in the middle. The survivor has lost control over the ability to make financial decisions for themselves. And this is what creates that connection between coerced debt, identity theft, and domestic violence. So there are 3 mechanisms of coerced debt. First, we have fraud, which is using the survivor's identity without their consent or knowledge to take out some type of credit in their name. And so what this looks like is an abusive partner taking a survivor's social security number and using that personal information to apply for a loan. And the survivor has no idea about this and did not consent to this. We then have coercion, where an abusive partner will use demands and threats to lead the survivor to take out debt that they wouldn't have taken out otherwise. And so, what this looks like is threatening a survivor and saying, for example, if you don't take out this car loan, I'm going to hurt you. So, that is what coercion is. And that's where that difference is between fraud and coercion. Whereas fraud, the survivor does not know, and coercion, they do know, but were forced to take out that loan. There's also a third mechanism, which is manipulation. And this looks like an abuser deliberately managing conditions or types of information to lead a survivor to take on debt that they wouldn't have otherwise. So, for example, an abusive partner can lie to their victim and say, we really need to take out this loan to help my mom pay her rent, when in reality, his mother or their mother does not need to pay any type of utility bill. And this is just the abuser manipulating the survivor to take out more credit and then using that for themselves. And so there's a really big problem with these three mechanisms. Prior to Texas passing the very first coerced debt bill in 2019, which you will learn more about in a future training session, only fraudulent coerced debts were considered identity theft. So when a survivor did not know about a debt being taken out in their name, that's fraudulent, and that meant that they were a victim of identity theft. But for the other debts that were taken out either through coercion or manipulation, where a survivor did know but were either forced to take out the debt or were deliberately misled in taking out the debt, those would not have qualified survivors to being victims of identity theft, meaning that they were missing out on a lot of the protections that victims of identity theft actively have. And so a few examples of coerced debt. For example, and like I mentioned earlier, an abuser forcing their victim to take out a credit card or a loan against their wishes. An abuser taking out a loan, mortgage, credit card, or a car finance agreement in the victim's name, either with or without the victim's effective consent. Putting bills in the victim's name, including rent, utility bills, or phone contracts. And so what we know is that the nature of coerced debt means that there are negative and sometimes even violent consequences for not doing what the abuser asks. And so in many cases, taking on that debt may feel like the safest option for a survivor. And so a 2019 study has really dug into the prevalence of coerced debt. And so to highlight a few of these statistics, almost 3 in 4, or 71% of survivors reported that their partner kept or had financial information from them. About half, or 52% of survivors reported that an abusive partner put debt in their name through a fraudulent or coercive transaction. And 73% of survivors indicated that they stayed longer than they wanted to stay in an abusive relationship because of financial concerns. These statistics to us advocates aren't shocking. These make a lot of sense for survivors. And so where does coerced debt show up, or how do survivors even find out about coerced debts? So one common way is reviewing a credit report. Whenever survivors are interested and they look through a credit report and they start to see accounts that they don't recognize, that may be one way that they identify coerced debt. Another is being denied credit. Let's say a survivor believes that they have never taken out any type of debt before and they want to apply for a new credit card and they get denied. And when they find out why they got denied, it shows that they have too many credit accounts. But the survivor has never taken out any type of credit before. And this is one way that they find out, oh my goodness, I have because I have coerced debts, or my abusive partner has. A really common way is being contacted by a creditor or a debt collector. So a survivor will get a call from a debt collector stating that they owe a debt, and a survivor will often have no idea what this means because they did not take out the debt, and so they're very confused. Being sued for an unrecognized debt is a really big way that survivors find out as well. And also getting a default judgment, meaning that a survivor was served, and there are a lot of issues with being served lawsuits such as an incorrect address or an incorrect name, but they didn't know that they were being served for a lawsuit. Or maybe they saw that they were, but because they didn't know about the debt, they thought that maybe this was fraud or maybe this was a mistake or maybe this was spam, and then ultimately get hit with a default judgment, meaning that they are now found liable for that debt and have to pay. And so why does this matter? This matters because coerced debt has really negative effects on a person, on a survivor, starting with financial dependence. When survivors do have coerced debts, whether they know about them or not, they have to rely heavily on their abusive partner financially. And when survivors do have coerced debt issues, this can lead to serious credit report problems. Take this, for instance, if an abusive partner takes out a credit card in the name of their victim, 9 out of 10 times, they're most likely not paying that monthly rate on that credit card, meaning they're just letting it default. But that's not going to hurt the abuser. It's going to hurt the survivor because it's in the survivor's name. So 9 times out of 10, these coerced debts are not being paid at all, and that is ultimately going to hurt the credit of the survivor. Or let's take, for instance, a survivor does know about the coerced debt because they were forced to take it out. Even in that case, they most likely don't have access to the account information. Only the abuser would. And so even if they had the financial ability to pay, if they don't have access to the account, they're not able to keep up with the minimum payments of that debt at all, leading to very poor credit reports and credit scores. And so when you have really bad credit, you are going to have immense financial hardship, especially if you're trying to leave an abusive relationship. Credit reports can dictate if you get access to new credit again, if you get access to safe and secure housing, and in some cases, if you get access to a job. And if a survivor already has poor credit and they're not able to take out new credit, they're not able to secure safe housing, and they're not able to get a job, then that's going to lead to immense financial hardship and also, going back to the top, immense financial dependence on their abuser. So today we covered what the Coerced Debt Pilot Program is, and you learned a little bit more about what coerced debt is itself. So thank you for attending today, and please stay tuned and scroll through more of the training options available to learn more about the pilot program. Thanks.